Welcome to the Big Brain Time Debate Podcast. Now with video. We're getting quite fancy. My name is Seth, and I don't believe birds are real.
And my name is Joey, and I'm honored to be here as a first-timer. And I also very strongly do not believe the birds are real.
Well, I'm Kyle, and I'm coming to you from the land of many colors. And I am going to argue that birds are real.
All right, and I'm Ira. My land is darkness. And birds are definitely real.
Y'all are drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not gonna attack you though.
All right. Have you seen any birds where you're living? Just out of curiosity.
No, but I have seen a few government surveillance drones. They look like birds.
Kyle and Ira, you two are going to be absolutely smoked in this argument, so
Probably.
you guys should go first. You know, a little advantage.
Ira, would you like to start?
You can go ahead and start.
Okay.
I've got a few points that I'm gearing up towards.
Okay.
Maybe.
So, I guess the starting argument is we know birds are real because they have all the characteristics of a living organism under the rules of biology. So, therefore, birds are real.
Can you specify what those rules of biology are?
Yes, I see. Look, when you're the son of a science teacher, you tend to know these things, but never committed. I mean, I committed most of them to memory, but not all of them. So I'm just going to pull them up really quickly. Characteristics of a living thing. They can move, which may, and it says may occur internally or even at the cellular level. They are capable of growth and development, so birds can go from chicks to adults. They have a response to stimulus, so if something moves at a bird will probably run. Reproduction, birds lay eggs. Use of energy.
Keep it PG-13 here.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. And they so the use of energy, they expend energy when flying, and they have to land to recoup that energy. And they have a cellular structure. Birds have been studied, and they're made up of cells like all living organisms. So
Studied by who?
scientists. Darwin.
You trust those hacks.
Trust.
I will remind you that history books say that the first moon landing happened in 1969, and we all know that wasn't real either. So you can't always follow what the books say. Just throwing that out there. Is it our turn to respond to that?
You guys go ahead.
You're already fitting right in, Joey.
Yes.
I'll let Seth go ahead if you have something.
Yeah. So I want to go through that list. Response to stimuli. Does a Roomba respond to stimuli? Yes. Expend energy while flying. Does an airplane expend energy while flying? Yes. Eggs aren't real.
Then what do we eat for breakfast, Seth? What are scrambled eggs during breakfast time? Where do we get those?
They take just that little bit of cardboardy plastic, right? And then they fill it with this weird pudding goo. And you go clink.
Okay.
Biodegradable. Very smart scientists who are
So we're saying that chickens aren't real. Chickens are birds.
Yeah, I mean, you can make separate models, right? If you think about the small proportions which birds poop in, that could easily be in a little canister. It's like a little spritzer, like air fresheners that are set on timers in bathrooms. Just
I don't make robots, but if I'm not mistaken, the urine and the feces is like mixed, so they just do it once, just at a time. Like they can do it while they're flying. It's efficient, was what I'm trying to say. I mean, that was designed, and I know we could get on a whole God intelligent design thing, but I'm talking about humans making robots right now.
So what is the robot releasing?
Look, they're constantly recording us. They need to get rid of the data that's not useful. They've got this algorithm in their head. They're sorting it out. And then they get rid of what is not
So it's
They
the
will be used.
Extra data.
Da-
Check
Yep.
me.
data turned into a liquid form, of course.
You liquefy the data. You know, like when somebody gets arrested and they liquefy their assets. It's like that.
Yep. Ira, what do you got?
Yeah, do you have a point, Ira?
Help me.
I can see it cooking up in your brain like a not real egg.
Well, if we're talking on the subject of birds' excretion, then tell me this, then why does their excretion always seem to end up on top of people's car windows? Which, if their goal is surveillance, then why would they excrete a substance that would intentionally block their access to see inside people's cars? Like the bird poop never goes anywhere else. It's always on top of people's car things.
Ira, you've just discovered the next part of the conspiracy. They're leaving tracking devices.
That can be wiped off.
Yeah, you don't
know,
want it to be obvious.
No cleaner.
I would argue a second purpose for the targeting, light slap on the wrist. Those people, they haven't done large felonies or anything like that, but they're pushing the envelope. And so they say, you know what, we're going to get rid of our data on them, light slap on the wrist.
It's really quite petty.
Yeah, but, you know.
When you're working a government agency job like that, you gotta take the little pleasures where you can find them, especially if it means pooping on a man's car.
Well,
Okay, so I've got another point question to pose on this argument.
Mhm.
So, why do birds, if they're not real, if they're government agents or government drones, why do they always go after worms?
Yeah, that's because they have to deal with all the bugs in the algorithm. You see, when America has too many bugs, they send in the birds. I don't have anywhere else to take that.
Clearly,
Can
they
I-
aren't
can I-
getting enough birds then.
Can I read something from the, I don't know what this website is called, but it's like the official Birds Are Not Real website. They sell a lot of merchandise. And we have a quote from Richard Nixon. We all know how much of a saintly guy he was. We needed a way to keep an eye on the American citizens without them knowing. It was imperative for their own safety, of course. We hired only the best. It took years. We designed, built, tested, failed. We persisted. Eventually, over decades, we had it. A fleet of covert technological surveillance devices unlike anything the world had ever seen. We call them, quote, birds. That is Richard Nixon from 1978.
Also, are you aware of the whole idea that birds evolved from dinosaurs? And are you also aware of the fact that all the rich and powerful people in the world are actually shape-shifting lizards? We were right on one front. Reptiles made the birds. We were just wrong about the process.
So birds came about in 78. So why are there been birds up until now? I mean, Charles Darwin studied birds. There were birds noted in the Bible. There are birds noted during the revolutionary periods.
Mhm.
So why are birds only? Why are they considered just making birds in 78?
Okay, I'm not going to go. I'm going to go with the data. I'm not going to put too much of myself into this. Not the data. The argument here on what is this? I don't know how to pronounce this. Audubon.com. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. The first sentence here is saying that the CIA assassinated John F. Kennedy after he refused to kill and replace billions of birds with drones. So they are arguing that birds were at one time an actual thing, but their argument is that the birds are not real now. They were all replaced.
And does this mean perhaps that JFK was a bird?
You never know. Maybe he didn't want to betray the rest of his species like that. That could
I
be.
bet his middle name was Finch. What's his middle
You're
name?
saying JFK was a
Fitzgerald.
finch.
His middle name is Fitzgerald.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. Okay.
Maybe not anything else to throw at us.
How are you going to deal with these hard facts?
Hard facts, huh?
Big brain time, baby.
Well, that is
Okay,
some of our
so interesting that most birds tend to have their greatest amount of activity in the very early morning, right after sunrise. Which is interesting because if they're being monitoring devices, then why aren't they more active during, the hours where humans are generally more active? Very few people are up at the sunrise considering, but most birds are up at sunrise because that's where they do most of their mating practices, according to proper scientific investigations.
Well, you say the people aren't up and about. Yeah, most people are. You know who are up around sunrise? Shady people. People who are out at night.
Well, you see, the thing is that if shady people are generally active during the night, but when daylight comes, that's when they retreat because now there's light on them, and then they'll be asleep for most of the morning because they're up all night. What else are you gonna do? Like, it would make more sense that the birds would be active throughout the night, but there are very few birds who are nocturnal like that.
Okay, one point, sorry I cut out there for a second, but owls are nocturnal, and owls can also do what they call the 360-degree rotation with their head. That is for all camera access. They can look all around them. So that answers that.
But it's only owls. Why not have more different kinds of surveillance drones active during the night as compared to during the time when most humans aren't going to be active, such as early morning right after sunrise?
Because they had to make good replicas of the previously existing birds. If they were only out at night, people would look at poetry about birds being out in the daytime and be like, that sounds suspicious. What's going on there?
Well, I mean, they're robots anyway, so why not have them active during the daytime as well as the nighttime?
Birds never
energy
slept.
storage and limited data storage. They can only poop so many times.
Yes, and going off what Seth said, I have heard from a first-hand witness, actually, that birds, like the touch, like your cell phone, you put it on a pad and it wirelessly charges it, you don't have to plug it in. That technology has been around for a long time, okay? They've been putting it under the rug. It's on power lines. That's why the birds go on the power lines. Wireless recharging. That's why they sit up there. How are you going to come back from that?
So the bird that ended up in my chimney one morning was just in there to spy on me.
I mean,
could have malfunctioned. I mean, these things do happen, but
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this was pretty cut and dry, guys.
Is it now? Well, it's interesting that that everyone just focuses on the birds as if, they're the ones that are not real. But what if you are being misled to thinking that the birds aren't real in order to hide the true surveillance drones out there? You ever consider that? Maybe the government promotes your search websites about, government surveillance to lead you towards birds when the real surveillance is actually hiding out there somewhere in a different form, but not birds. Those several million mosquitoes they just released down in Florida? Those are the surveillance mosquitoes. They're not there to reduce mosquito populations. They're there to spy on people.
Like the U.S. military weaponized mosquitoes in the past.
All right, I think we can all agree on that.
I don't know how I'm going to sleep tonight, guys. It's just going to keep me up.
Probably with a mosquito net over your bed.
Yes.
All right, well, you heard it here, folks. Mosquitoes are government spies and birds are real. Have a good week.
Thank you for joining us. Good to see you.